RBLR Sports.
RBLR Sports, Tampa Bay Rowdies, we won again. That's Parker, not James. I'm Carlos. We're still the biggest team in the world.
Yep.
What a weekend.
Yeah.
I said that really fast, but if you didn't catch that, that's Parker on the other side of my screen. Filling in for James, who had some scheduling conflicts, to put it lightly. But some big stuff happening. Parker, I'm excited to have you back on.
Yes.
I don't like James much, as I've said before. I'm kind of tired of his face in the corner. I'm glad we're switching it up. But what we're not switching up is the string of good results we're putting together. That's a good transition there.
That is a good transition.
Jeez, dude, what a week. What a week. We're live Tuesday, August 11th, 5:37 p.m. Tell your friends, hop on. We're going to be chatting for the next hour about Tampa Bay Rowdies, about this crazy result this past weekend. Maybe not as crazy a game as the one against Louisville the week before, but certainly a statement, to put it lightly. Before we talk about any of that, my mood's good because of all that and because of the big games coming up this week. Tomorrow we're playing against Louisville. On Saturday we're playing against Rhode Island. And not only are we playing against Louisville again, but it's a knockout game, Pringstars quarterfinals. Parker, before we talk any more Rowdies, because there's a lot to talk about, how are you doing on this fine Tuesday evening?
Doing great. Always happy to hop in, talk Rowdies. I typically am a listener on Spotify. I don't always watch the intro as a result. I don't get to see the video. So I noticed that the Marco Micheletto long range over Miami's keeper was now in the intro. So
Eureka snuck that in very quickly.
Fast editing.
After that one. Dude, I'm excited. Usually what we'll do when we have a Wednesday game is we'll try to go live on Monday, get the pod out on Tuesday, record it out and everything. So you can get at least a good day of recorded listening in before the game on Wednesday. Not the case this time, but that means you can just listen to us on the way to the stadium if you're not listening to us live right now.
That's right.
That's awesome. Of course, big game, like I said, tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. against Louisville. We'll get into all the details. We don't really need to preview Louisville again all that much. We'll just talk about, they had an interesting game this past weekend. We'll talk about just a little bit because I saw some of that. But we just did the preview on them a little over a week ago. It's the same team. Much to the chagrin of Louisville fans, they still haven't signed anyone to support their back line. Since that game, we've made 2 signings for our back line. So we've only gotten better on defense. They haven't figured it out. Hopefully that leads to another good result for us on Wednesday. Talk a little bit about Rhode Island. But before we do that, we got to talk about Orange County. And before we do that, Parker, I'm going to plug all of our social medias. RBLR Sports, at RBLR Sports on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Threads, anywhere and everywhere. You get your social media doom scrolls. We're there. If you're listening to this already, subscribe to the podcast on YouTube, what else do you listen to this on?
Spotify, YouTube? Apple Music,
Apple Pod, Google Podcasts. I think they're still
Google.
And keep checking us out every week. Like I said, usually live on Tuesday evenings around this time, but of course, we'll sprinkle in a Monday every once in a while with a midweek game. Okay, Parker, you are the new face here. I want to give you, not new face, you've been on here before. You're the different face on here. I want to give you the opportunity to take us through really quickly what happened against Orange County. You want to do that for us? Just give us a quick recap, starting 11, see what's going on against Orange County in this crazy, crazy game. And then we'll talk about some questions and dive into it a bit more.
Yeah, so Rowdies went way out west. We started with Waite and goal. From right to left on the back line, Akoff, Schneider, which I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about, Dos Santos, Ostrom to complete the back line, Cruz, Hilton, Micheletto, Perez, and Cicerone kind of in behind MD Myers up top. And that's not too irregular besides Schneider on the back line, but we saw that a little bit last week.
Whoa.
Dog going crazy in the background.
Dude, that's how I felt when I saw Schneider locking in the back. There's a dog right there. As soon as he said Schneider,
that's right. He did have a pretty strong game back there, for sure. But yeah, just to go through a little bit of a rundown of the scoring, and then we'll talk a little bit more details wise as we kind of like dig in a little bit more. But Rowdies got off the mark with an MD Myers penalty. Lewis Hilton was the one who won it. Not always the furthest forward, but really exciting to see him get into the box. 1-0 at halftime before we got a Marco Micheletto goal and a Carson Hinderlong goal in the 89th minute, I believe, to kind of ice the game and put it out of reach. But really happy to see Hinderlong get his first goal in the USL Championship. I know he scored a couple of times in the Pranks Tires Cup, formerly known as the Jaeger Cup, and nice to see him get off the mark here in the championship, because I'm sure he was itching to get a goal, even though he scored against championship level opponents, in the past. But that's a super duper quick recap. We can kind of dig into the details. Anything kind of stand out to you, Carlos, before we get to the Rowdies opener in the 21st?
Let's do some high level kind of themes I saw in this one before we dive into some of the individual plays, which were fun to watch. Like, there were some great moments in this one. The high level takeaways is what we said it's a big win, but why is it a big win? Rowdies go away to Orange County, the first place team out west, and comfortably take them apart. After maybe, I think this was you that jotted this down here, maybe it was James, noting that we had a slowish first 10 minutes. We settle into the game and make ourselves very comfortable after we draw that penalty. Very clear penalty. There's some questions about the referees in this one, which I think went our way a little bit on the second goal in particular, but first call, there's nothing you can say about that one. Clear penalty. Rowdies take advantage there. And after that, Orange County's never able to settle in.
Right.
They were forced to play a game which was a little bit different than what they usually do. Last week, and Parker, if you're a real fan of the pod, you listened to me say this last week with James. I said something like along the lines of about how Orange County is one of the most efficient teams in the league. You look at all the stats, they don't create the most opportunities, but when they have their opportunities, they score. They have one of the lowest big chance miss percentages in the league, despite and combine that with their limited chance creation versus like other teams in their top tier of the league. You find that efficiency that they have. In this game, they were forced to play a little bit different. They had more possession than they usually do. They're usually sub 50% possession. They don't sit on the ball as much as some of the other top teams in the league might, like the Rowdies, who like to control the pace of the game sometimes. I don't know if it seemed like it could have been a tactical approach from the Rowdies to kind of force them into a game they're not super used to. Let them have some of the ball, or a lot of the ball. In this case, I think, let's find stats. Let me get the actual number here, so I'm not just giving you like feels like numbers. Okay. So the end of the game, Orange County had 60% possession. They've averaged something like 44% possession throughout the season. That is a huge difference. And despite that possession, I mean, you saw this. We talked about this all week, or last few days. How many shots on target do you think they had, Parker? You know this. 0. Donuts.
Yes.
So I'm like, that's the big storyline there, is the Rowdies contained this high-scoring team, limited chance creation team, high-scoring team to 0 shots on target over the course of 90 minutes at home. Away to Orange County, right? In their crib, first-place team in the West, team who hadn't lost in, was it 9 straight league games or something like that?
Yeah, and most of those on the road, I think, because they were having some difficulties getting into their stadium. Best World Cup. They have a great facility, which is why the U.S. was training there. But yeah, for sure, they weren't allowed to actually play home games, and they were
taking care of business away. Right. It was incredible. Like, they were on an incredible run. So I was really interested to see how this game would look if we would go in there and kind of play our game. And I don't think we played like the typical Rowdies game. It was different, and it was fun to watch. It was interesting, and it was still comfortable. Despite them being on the ball so much, I can point to really one decent look that they had. And it was an early shot that went wide. Mm-hmm. I love my boy Chris Hagar on the wing. Absolute beast. I love him. But he's been one of their most dangerous players. He's their highest chance creator. Absolute legend. I was watching this game. My dad was here for the weekend up in DC. Nice. And I was like, oh, you remember Chris? I used to talk about him because I think he left our sophomore year of Georgetown was when he entered the draft. I have a picture of him where, like, at one of my fraternity parties, like, oh, Chris is here. Like, look, he's on the screen. Like, I love the guy, but he was shut down. He was shut down entirely. Like, they had so much of the ball, and I think they were just so used to playing this kind of like quick attack, counter attack soccer that's been so successful for them that when they had so much possession, they didn't know what to do. Right. And it was awesome. So that's like my high level summary before we kind of talk about some of the plays.
I think it's interesting too. I definitely agree. And I think one thing that we were kind of talking about in like the group chat that we've got going with all the folks that cover the Rowdies for RBLR is like, they definitely were the Rowdies that is doing some things, I think, interestingly. It seemed like Micheletto and Cicerone were like very, very, very wide. I think a lot of times both those guys, when they're in those wide positions, like to kind of come in so they're a little bit closer to goal. You get like Akoff or Ostrom to overlap, but there are a number of times when, Micheletto or Cicerone would pick up the ball like right on the touchline and kind of just hug it as they progress the ball up the field, which we just haven't always seen. And I think just overall the verticality of how we progress the ball was a lot more extreme because we were sitting in kind of letting Orange County try and do their thing on all that they just weren't really able to. Yeah,
super interesting. And this is, I've never really like claimed to being like the tactical mind or tactical genius of RBLR Sports, but like it was just evident, like without even looking at numbers, without looking at I don't know, without talking to Casciato about like what was different. Like you could just see we were doing things a little different. You could feel it. And it was cool. Not that we like need to change anything drastically because we're in first place in the league and we're coming off of some crazy wins. But it was, I think, a really, really impressive moment of, okay, this is something different. Mm-hmm. It's cool to know that we can change something when we're going up against an opponent that's just different, right? Because again, I think Orange County is probably one of the most unique teams in the league in that sense. Because teams that play like Orange County, teams that play the way Orange County do are typically like the bottom half of the league teams. Like they're playing that way because they don't have the talent necessarily to keep up with the San Antonios, the Louisvilles, the Rowdies, the Charlestons, right?
Really control the game.
Play defensive, counterattack. But in this case, that's just been what's worked for them. Like they're in first place in the West because they play that way. So it's really cool to know, like, okay, let's change something a little bit here. Let's give them the ball. Let's play, not even like defensively, because I didn't feel like we were like under constant pressure either.
No.
You know what I mean? It's so impressive that they had 60% possession and not a single shot on target. And not even like shots that were particularly close, right? Like I can point to that one shot early on in the half. It was probably within those first 10 minutes. That goes a little bit wide. By the time we get to the second half, they were just frustrated because
I think so.
They couldn't break through. Okay. To that point, why they couldn't break through. The midfield was incredible. The back line didn't have to do a ton, and they were incredible. They stepped into the passing lanes early. Like there was just nowhere for the Orange County attack to go. I think Ostrom had another great game. By the way, I saw he had a lot of family out there, which was a big part of that.
That's awesome.
Large Rowdies contingent that was there. And when you saw on TV after he scored the third goal, I was like, someone in the Ralph's Mob group goes like, is there family out there? Are we just that massive? Like we travel everywhere. And I was like, there's definitely there had to be a handful or a number of people there that were just like organic Tampa Bay Rowdies fans that are somewhere in California. We don't get out there that often. So, like, I don't know, if you see we're going out there at some point, you probably make it a point to get out to
I'm sure
Orange County. But I know Ostrom had some family there. I know Cruz had some family there just from scouting social media.
Nice.
And so to Ostrom had a beast of a game again. He didn't get another assist. It felt like he was just been, going crazy with that stat recently. But he incredible game on the back line. Dos Santos was a beast on the back line again. And I want to highlight Schneider again, because as soon as we said his name, your dog started barking. And he was just like, the guy is a beast. And we talked about what the back line was going to look like, right? We said he was going to fill in, because last week James and I were talking about how, okay, we know Archer has some sort of injury. We know Schaefer has a groin injury that he's coming back from, hopefully sometime soon. If you watch his Instagram, like the comeback, he has a little comeback series. It's pretty cool. Like, I've been enjoying keeping up with how his recovery is going by following him on Instagram. It looks like he's making his way back at a good pace. Like, he's running around the field, doing some like solo training. It looks like not any clips with the team or anything, but doing some good solo work. And then who am I missing? Learman, who went out early. And some sort of injury. Again, no clue what that is. So James and I are talking about what's that back line going to look like. We bring in Antley on loan. Is he going to get thrown in at center back? Maybe. Like, he'd done it at some point with the Rowdies when he was here.
Right center back and a back three kind of thing.
Yeah. He'd done it before, right? We know White's back from injury. Is White going to get thrown in at center back? We know he's done that a lot for the Rowdies at different points of his career. But certainly not where he's been the most comfortable, especially maybe last year. Like, his talents are so well used. I think in the kind of defensive midfield portion of the field, he distributes the ball so well. He likes cutting up the field. He's so good.
Good at covering ground.
I think he's best used in the midfield, and Dom probably knows that too. All that being said, the last option was either go get someone, which it looks like we did, by the way, just today. We'll talk about that later on. Or when we didn't have anyone coming on loan, a guy we'll talk about again later on, throw in Max Schneider again, who played most of the game against Louisville on the back line. I listened to his interview with Jeff that he did on the official Rowdies podcast. Made it clear that's not where he's usually played. He's only played it there. He's only played center back, like, I think he said, quote, once or twice before.
Wow.
Like, professionally over the last few seasons. But tell me he wasn't a beast back there. I mean, what do you think about the Max Schneider? And I've said this before, this team's so versatile, but what do you think about Max Schneider on the back line?
I think he did have a good game. And like you said earlier, he and Dos Santos didn't have a ton to do up against Orange County's, forward line. But when he was called upon, he was good at kind of cleaning up stuff. Obviously, being a midfielder, really comfortable on the ball. He was distributing, I thought, pretty well out of the back too. But on my guess, it seemed like we had a little bit more in the midfield right in front of him, right? Hilton and Cruz were both kind of deeper at times. Perez was kind of a little bit deeper than we would typically see, like that center attacking mid at times, to maybe screen a little bit more and cover some of those potential gaps or bits of uncomfortability that Schneider might find himself in that new position. But I don't really think that they needed to in the end, right? I think it's great to have an emergency center back an emergency center back be probably your most impactful central midfielder so far this season, right? He's a kind of do everything player. He's good at passing. He's good at breaking up the play. He's very aggressive with the yellow cards that he's accumulated across the season, which is good to have that in him as well.
That's a good point. I shared that in our group chat. I should mention that later. Good flag. Yeah. We'll come back to that. Yeah.
So I think he's got those traits, but he's also got the traits to not be frazzled when he's on the ball. He's not going to give something away. It's silly. He's going to be able to find, whoever's in front of him or whoever's out wide of him and make the right pass. But like you said, we do have 2 new defensive signings. Antley did get some minutes in the game.
Crazy seeing him back in a Rowdies jersey after not he hasn't been away forever, But like I said this to you, right? Like it must be so weird for him to come back to this Rowdies team where he spent a good portion of his career at. It was a good 3 years. And it's just like Wyke and Hilton. Is like everybody else, all these new like college kids, guys who are like fresh out of USL League One. He must feel like a seasoned vet on this.
Yeah, and I think Wyke was even gone his last season.
Yeah,
on the Rowdies, so it's like really just Hilton from that 2023 squad, which was like the last one that he was on, maybe 2024. But yeah, it is funny to see him back, but I think great. I mean, very fond memories. We were an elite team then, we're an elite team right now, so it seems like Connor Antley's on the roster. The Rowdies are great. So long may it continue. And I think he offers something a little bit different from Akoff. Like when he did come in the game for Akoff, he played more in like a right back position, which is kind of what, we would maybe have expected. With what we've seen in the past. He's not quite as speedy, but he's very, very, very good, both defensively and distributing out from the back. So
I always recall him being like a defensive first fullback, which I can appreciate. He was so solid. He wasn't like consistently involved in the attack when he was here with those prime Rowdies a few years ago. So I'm glad to have him in there because anything that'll help shore up some back line after a shaky month or so and after all the injuries, I think will still be helpful. Plus, like I said, he knows the club. Like he's back after not that long. I think he can still, despite the roster being so new, I think he adds a lot of familiarity for the fans, obviously, but I think he can bring a lot of that to the new players. Like, hey, like you guys are playing for this team, and like we were doing all this when I was here just a few years ago. Like, let's get back to that. Plus, it's he's an sorry, not last thing on Antley, MLS guy who's playing good minutes for DC United. Like, he wasn't like some random bench player. He was certainly a role player, not like consistently getting 90 minutes for DC United, but consistently getting minutes. He was at something like 32, 33 appearances over the course of the last couple seasons. Like he was in there. He was in the mix, and it's certainly not a lack of talent that's kept him out of the DC United rotation.
Yeah, and I think he got a couple of bad injuries when he was playing in MLS, which maybe he lost a little bit of pace or something like that because of that. But I think they've got some new coaches and new general managers and stuff like that from the time when he was originally signed. So, it is always tough when there's leadership changes. But I think, having a guy with that MLS experience come onto the roster, especially with how many guys are, new to the championship from League One or new to the Rowdies, which is kind of like a step up within the championship professionally. It's great to have him as an example setter, tone setter. Like, this is what you got to do to kind of continue to grow your game, get better every single week. So that'll be great as we get closer and closer to the playoffs too.
Absolutely. Okay. So all that being said, let's just take a couple minutes to go through this game a little bit more in depth. We'll look at the big plays here. Obviously the penalty, the second goal, third goal, is what we're going to focus on. Because I think we hit the high level stuff. Rowdies go to Orange County, dominate, get a comfortable win against what a lot of people were saying was the best team in the league. The power rankings, the USL power rankings had Orange County like that out for a while. I think now, most recently, I saw them this week put New Mexico at first place in their power rankings. I don't put a lot of stock in that, to be honest. Like, it's just kind of, I was that's kind of silly. I think they're on a 10-game unbeaten run. Interestingly, after the Rowdies beat them was when that run started. Like, it was Rowdies go to New Mexico, get that big win, and then New Mexico starts that run. So we awakened something in them, apparently. But Orange County was seen across the league as one of, if not the best teams in the league, certainly the best team out west for a large portion of this year. So that's the big storyline, right? Okay, how do we do that? 20th minute, you mentioned the penalty that comes in, where we have the ball off a throw in. Looking at the highlights now, Dion Akoff is on the right side, throws it in to MD Myers, who we don't really think of as like a hold up kind of guy. Right. He doesn't have the build to that you would think of when you think of like a I don't know, big hold up striker, or hold up play forward, distributed to a guy behind him, whatever. In this case, he was being bodied by two big guys on the Orange County back line, and still somehow manages to flick it with the back of his right foot.
Yeah.
Somewhere towards the box, like somewhere towards the goalie. I don't know if he saw Lewis Hilton. I want to say probably not.
Yeah, it would have been shocking if he saw him. Maybe he heard him, but
yeah, I mean, he had two guys like right on his back, and he's like looking away. I don't know. Lewis Hilton, regardless. So first of all, that's a credit to MD Myers for just being a dog like he always is, and finding a way to make a play happen. Flick the ball on, see what happens, right? Put the ball in the area, good things happen. Lewis Hilton, you mentioned, never really the guy that's that far up the field. So that's a very Dominic Casciato thing, right? Like everyone gets up the field. Everyone gets down to the box, gets into the danger area to make chances happen. You saw that later on in the half as well. We'll talk about it on the second goal as well. And there was a chance that MD Myers had where he had like four guys with him. Like it seemed like every time there's a counterattack for the Rowdies, we're outnumbering the other team because everyone's just getting down to the other side of the field. So very Casciato-esque this, right? Hilton being the one that's in the box, drawing the penalty. Dives in front of the ball, gets between the ball and the keeper, clear penalty. He looks like he's dead on the field for a second. Good stuff. Like great stuff. Just good. I mean, good all around, right? Whatever. Clear penalty regardless of if he sold it too hard or not. And the Myers steps up, drills it into the corner, stunner of penalty.
Smashed it. Yeah.
It goes to the crowd back there and just kind of claps. A little casual clap. Nothing like he's not going crazy. He's just like, kind of like a calm. It's early. But certainly like, gets in their face a little bit, which is always fun to see. That's the first goal in the, what was that?
21st minute?
Yeah, 23rd, 24th minute officially, I think, right?
Okay. Yeah.
23rd, 24th minute, who cares? Orange County's on the ball. They have one pretty good look in the 30th minute, which I think Orange County fans will point to as a penalty, as a referee mistake. Dos Santos kind of dives into the striker Bazzini. I actually don't know if he's a striker. The guy who had the opportunity for Orange County. Ball falls to him right in the box. He has a lot of space. Gets caught out. The back line is caught out a bit. And Dos Santos is kind of like the last guy to be in the area. Just charges at him, dives into him, makes contact with the side of his body as Bazzini's taking the shot. Ref doesn't see it as a penalty. Probably it could have been a penalty. Definitely could have been
a penalty.
But I think sometimes the ref's gonna lean on the side of the defender when it's close enough to where like that shot happens close-ish to when the contact happens. If there was VAR, there's probably a penalty, right? When you're seeing it in live action, when the shot's kind of happening at the same time as the contact or close, right? I think the shot gets off a little bit after the contact. I feel like we've seen the refs lean on the side of the defenders.
Yeah, and I feel like he got like the Orange County striker did make good contact with the ball, right? So it wasn't like Dos Santos totally cleared him out and he wasn't able to get his shot off. He kind of put his body on him, back, hip, whatever, and made it really uncomfortable for him to make a shot on target.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't like a clear and obvious call, like in live action. Again, if there's VAR, maybe, right? Or probably even, but with calling it live, it wasn't as clear to the ref evidently as it would have been on replay. Speaking of the ref, Rowdy's second goal comes off a Orange County corner kick counterattack. Everybody's in the box for the Rowdies. Louis Perez is all over Silla. Makes like good, just clean defensive contact for the majority of that play, and then at one point kind of wraps him up.
Little tug on the shoulders.
Yeah, regardless of like how hard he pulls back, like that's usually going to be called a foul by the ref. Like getting arms around is almost always going to be called a foul. In this case, it wasn't.
He put his whistle in his mouth too. It looked like the ref was about to, and then he was like, "Never mind, I'm not."
Yeah, I don't know what that was. Maybe he was going to call a foul on Silla, and then it was like advantage. I don't know.
Yeah.
Regardless, Rowdies are in the counterattack at this point. Louis Perez and like everybody else on the team. Actually, now that I'm looking at that, like I said,
it's like a 4v2.
Yeah, remember when I said like everybody's getting down there? It is literally when Louis Perez makes the first pass out to the left and before Cicerone puts it back into the middle. It's 6-on-3. There are 6 Tampa Bay Rowdies all the way down the field. Awesome.
It's crazy.
Casciato ball, right? Like just like throw it as soon as there's a chance, like we're gonna send bodies up. It doesn't matter what position you play. Like Wyke's up there, Cruz, like everybody's up there. Cicerone put the ball back into the mixer. There's literally it's who is this taking the shot? It's Louis Perez on the ball, and he has like he has MD Myers on his right and the Cruz on his right next to him with no Orange County defenders there. Like there's just so many options. It's ridiculous. In the midst of that chaos, maybe too many options.
I think
he can't really get a shot
between lines.
Yeah, he can't really get a shot off. There's some chaos in the box, and then MD Myers finds the ball, pokes it out to Micheletto, who just drills it into the box, into the net. 2-0 Rowdies. Biggest.
Uh-oh. I think Carlos.
He's having or stepping into my living room. Yeah, whereas Carlos has some issues. We'll get him there.
Yeah, picking up on what Carlos was saying, it was a crazy good counterattack. Rowdy's getting right up the field. I think it is pretty wild how exposed Orange County allowed themselves to get coming off of one of their own corner kicks. But I think maybe just so much pace from the Rowdies attackers to get up the field. I think a little bit of fortune too, that after Perez was kind of caught in between two minds, not taking a shot, not laying it off, that MD was able to kind of pick it up, poke it through for Micheletto to smash forward. What's up, Carlos? He's back.
I'm connected to my hotspot now. My Wi-Fi just
no.
in the middle of it. But if I got you right at the end there, we're talking about the same thing. Like many numbers getting down. Awesome to see. It's awesome. Like that's Casciato ball. That second goal.
I feel like after that second goal, we did still create quite a few chances, it felt like, right?
100%.
I think Micheletto had a shot that he like pulled wide from the top of the box. Conway had, do you remember that one-on-one chance that he had? Oh, I think I remember pulling my hair out when that happened.
That's a goal like 95 out of 100 times. Conway's right there, point blank, and just can't really get any direction on it. Shoots it right at the Orange County keeper.
And another example of like just having numbers on Orange County. It was like so simple. A ball up over the top to Dolabella, who gets it on the left. He's somehow behind the left back. He crosses it in. Conway's behind the center back, and just the goalie there, but he hits it right at him. But almost no defenders to be seen between the ball and the goal, which is just incredible at that level.
And Orange County has been one of the better defensive teams. I mean, obviously, if you're in first place in the West, like that's probably going to be the case. But they had been one of the most solid teams in the West and in the league defensively. They're stingy. They don't give up a ton of goals, which you probably have to do, like I said, to be in first place. They gave up 3 in this game. They were just outnumbered on 2 of the goals, right? Like just they were pushing up. I'm so happy to jump to the third goal really quickly that Henderlon got his goal in league play. He's so good, and I've like hyped him up so often because he's a beast. The way he controls that ball, he's a pretty like tall dude, and still very quick and nimble with his footwork. To kind of chip that right by the keeper, still control it, stumble through a defender, and still get a left foot on the ball, put it into an empty net. That was beast. Absolutely incredible. He's got so much talent. I wonder if he gets like more minutes tomorrow since he's just been a beast in the Brinks Tires Cup, or or if it's still MD's spot to lose with it being obviously just, a big game against Louisville. It's definitely not a Naples or a Sarasota Paradise that we're playing tomorrow.
Right.
By
But
the
at
way,
the same time, quick turnaround and then another quick turnaround for the Saturday game. So there might be some managing of minutes at this point in the season.
Yeah. But how about, and to that point, that's the whole game, basically. Like, we just talked about the whole game. So some closing thoughts. That I think you mentioned that at a good time. We used all 5 of our substitutes. I think we rotated everyone everyone out that really needed to be rotated out, if that makes any sense. MD Myers has 3 lungs on him. I think he could sustain playing 90 minutes and then putting the work in on Wednesday again. But you subbed out the guys that are doing a lot of the running in the middle, which is pretty great. Cicerone, who just does a ton of work, just putting his head down and running. You gave him a little bit of rest at the end of the game. Not a ton, but you got him out at least for that last portion. Louis Perez on the wing got subbed out in the 60th minute. Nicoletto got subbed out in the 70th minute. Hilton, who had been doing a ton of running right in the middle part of the field, got subbed out for Wyke. So use all 5 of your subs, rotated in every outfield player except Gennaro Nigro that you had available on the bench. Pretty cool. I think that's good. I mean, just good to get different guys involved. But it's not like when we were subbing these guys in that it was like garbage time or anything. Like they were important subs, they were influential subs. Obviously, Hunter gets a goal. Conway gets the assist on that goal.
Yeah,
and could have scored one himself. Dolabello was super involved. Antley was involved defensively. Wyke was getting up the field. Like every single one of the subs was involved and influential to this game. And on the flip side, gave a bunch of other guys who we know are going to start typically some rest. So great stuff. And we added one more body to potentially give someone else some rest, which we'll talk about in just a minute. So that's that game. I want to highlight how hyped Dos Santos was on the 3rd goal. I'm looking at the highlights. And I totally forgot about. There's like a row of like VIP seating for Orange County that's on the field. It's just on the field. Like there's no barricade. There's no nothing. Like they're on folding chairs with some nice looking cushions on the field. Maybe 8 feet from the sideline.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. We scored the 3rd goal, and the whole squad's going over to celebrate in front of the Rowdies contingent behind the bench, which was awesome. It looked like a good 60, 70 people in there. They go over to celebrate with everybody. They're pumped up.
Yeah.
But it looks like, if you didn't know that they're there, it looks like they're just celebrating the faces of these rich people from Irvine, California. Like these poor people are just sitting there watching this game. And Dos Santos and there has to be a couple empty seats because I don't know why Dos Santos would do this in that VIP row. Dos Santos just boots one of the chairs between 2 very nice looking people.
Yeah,
he's celebrating, he's fired up, and he's not far from being right on top of these rich Irvine, California residents. And he just boots the hell out of that chair. I loved it. He was fired up, celebrating with the fans, and the whole squad was literally on top of these people in the VIP field seating. It was incredible. Go back and look at that if you want to see what I'm talking about. But I think I described it as best as I can. It was just, they weren't even reacting. They weren't going boo. They weren't super into it. They were just kind of whatever. And Dos Santos just boots the hell out of that chair. I love it. Fired up. Good for him. I'm glad it didn't earn him a yellow card or anything.
No,
but pretty sweet stuff there. That's this game, Parker. I don't have anything else to add. I think we've covered it. Do you have any other thoughts on Dos Santos' celebration or the rest of this game?
I think great to see everyone the team always does a good job of celebrating together, but I think everyone's particularly hyped because they know it's Hinderlong's first goal in the league, and he's probably been waiting for that. Everyone's been saying it's coming. Yeah. So they're all there to get hype, to know that they've closed out the game against, like you said, leaders on the western side of the championship. So yeah, all around great game. Totally worth staying up until after midnight for on a Saturday night for folks who would prefer it to be, at a normal 7:00 hour. But yeah, definitely very entertaining, definitely very exciting, and 3 more points, which is all you can really ask for.
Absolutely. The watch party at Ferg's looked like fun for anybody who was there. That's great stuff. I love that we're doing stuff with Ferg's. It's a great bar. Across the rest of the league, we're still in first place, obviously, but I'll just mention that Charleston got a win against Loudoun, 1-0 away to Loudoun. Detroit got a 1-0 win away to Tulsa, which is actually a pretty impressive win because Tulsa's pretty solid out west. So they went away and got a win over there. They're both in second and third place. Their opponents didn't do us any favors, but we didn't give them any ground to make up because we got an incredible win at Orange County. So really, really great stuff. We stay at an 8-point lead in the East. We increase our lead to 7 overall over Orange County SC, who, of course, lost to us this weekend. Prediction standings. Eureka's on 26 points. I'm on 24. Connor's on 19. James is on 18. Parker, you're all the way down in last place on 16. What are we doing?
I know.
I did predict a draw for this game, and that was my mistake. And I think you did too. So only people to get points were Eureka and Connor, who predicted wins, but certainly not 3-0 wins. So they got 1 point each. Okay. That's this game. That was fun. No yellow cards for Nate Dos Santos or Max Schneider, which is relevant because of something I want to share really quickly before we jump into the next couple games. I said this in our group chat with the RBLR crew, that I was looking at. I'd seen this a couple weeks ago. There was a Discipline Watch report article that the USL put out, just like kind of checking in with who's on like 1 yellow card or 2 yellow cards away from a 1-game suspension. At the time, I saw that Max Schneider was on 7 yellow cards, and 8 yellow cards means a 1-game suspension, which I think is pretty influential with how thin the back line is. If he's going to continue to play on the back line, which maybe won't be the case with our new signing. However, the 2025 USL rules, which was the latest I could find for some reason, say that if you have 3 league games in a row without a yellow card, then your yellow card accumulation goes down by 1. Max Schneider played his 3rd game in a row this weekend without a yellow card. I think that means he would go down from 7 yellow cards to 6 yellow cards, which would put him 2 yellow cards away from a 1-game suspension, which is great. If that's still how the rules work, I wish I could confirm this with the USL, but I don't think it would have changed from 2025 to now. Nate Dos Santos played his 2nd game in a row without a yellow card, 1 more league game, and he will be down to 4 yellow cards. I think he was on 5. Is that what I said in our group chat, Parker?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay. And yes, he's on 5 yellow. Thank you, Eureka at RBLR Sports. So just something to keep an eye on. I hope it won't be an issue. And I'm glad Max Schneider went his 3rd game in a row without a yellow, because that kind of gives him a little bit more breathing room. We know, like, by nature of his position, he gets stuck in. Like, that's just how it works. So I'm glad he played another game clean, which is hard to do, especially in a position he doesn't play. And in that position being center back, which is naturally where you're going to be super physical with another team striker. Okay, that was the game against Orange County. Absolute beast of a game. Quick man of the match for you, Parker.
I'm going with MD Myers, goal and an assist. He's been in absolutely insane form over the last 3 games. He's got 6 goal contributions in that time, which is absolutely incredible. Hopefully he's got some sort of bonus structure in his contract to get a little bit extra for each of those goal contributions. I don't know how the contracts work exactly in the league, but I'm glad he's putting them away and providing for his teammates.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you easily. MD Myers, great game from him. I love what he's been able to do. He's kind of found his form again, and he's the top scorer on the team for a reason. And he's getting involved with an assist. That's great. Yeah. Good for him. All right. That was a incredible game against Orange County. Statement made. The league is on watch if they weren't already, or if you thought that we were on a kind of fall off trajectory over the course of the last month. We're not. Sorry. We just went out and beat Orange County 3-0 in Irvine, California. 2 more big games. Let's just jump straight into them. Quick plug, really, really quickly. I'm going to tell everybody, if you listen to this podcast, you've heard me say this a million times, that if you love the podcast, you can like and subscribe, and that's great. And you should, because you're awesome. But if you want to support the pod just a little bit more, shop.rblrsports.com. Use promo code COYR for 10% off everything you purchase. 2 big games this week. Get something you like and wear it to the stadium tomorrow or Saturday. Probably not tomorrow. I don't know if shipping would go that quick, but maybe Saturday. I don't know. Okay, let's talk about those games. 2 games to preview. We don't really need to talk about Louisville all that much. Like, the game is big. I'm not saying the game's not big. We've talked about Louisville twice already this year. We beat them both times. Incredible. We just talked about them no more than a couple weeks ago. It was August 1st game where you'll recall we came back down from 3-0 and then down from 4-3 to win 5-4. And then we play Rhode Island and league play on Saturday. Of course, you should know this, but the game tomorrow against Louisville, quarterfinals of the Prince Tires Cup.
Yep, knockouts.
If you're doing the math, that means you are 3 wins away from a trophy. Pretty sweet. Put as much or as little stock as you want into the Prince Tires Cup. It is a USL Cup. It is going to be around for a while, it feels, and it will only grow in importance, right? Win every trophy you can. We're not in the Open Cup this year, even though we should have been. I think we have an incredible team to have, maybe made that run this year finally. In lieu of that, let's go win the Prince Tires Cup. And let's talk about Louisville really quickly once again. We just beat them. It was an incredible atmosphere. Parker, were you there? Were you at that game?
Oh, yeah.
It looked insane on TV. It was awesome.
It was incredible. I lost my voice from all of the goal celebrations. It's the first time in a long time at one of the Rowdies games there were enough scoring and enough excitement for me to fully lost my voice.
Yeah.
It did come back before I had to log into work on Monday, thankfully, but needed some rest on Sunday to get back to 100%.
Yeah. Like I said, this Louisville team hasn't really changed since August 1st. They hadn't, to my knowledge, they haven't signed any new center backs or anything, which has been their main complaint from fans, who I jokingly said, I think replied, one of the guys' name's Patrick. I just see him all the time on Louisville Twitter. And he was like, I can't believe we still haven't signed a center back. It's kind of like he's been tweeting about, like, the meme with like the guy poking the rock with the stick.
Yeah, do something.
Yeah, that's what he's been posting. I was like, come on, sign a center back. And I was like, I speak for all Louisville fans when I say we love our back line. We just need a little bit more time. Like, we'll figure it out. I hope they haven't figured it out because they haven't signed anybody. They're going to be coming in with some fire. The game's fresh on their memory. And I can't imagine they're too pleased about losing in that fashion. They're coming off of a 1-1 result at home against San Antonio. They were in winning position for a majority of the game. They scored in the 13th minute, and they held on to that 1-0 lead till the 79th minute. San Antonio controlled the game possession-wise. You look at the numbers, they had 66% possession in Louisville. That's insane to me. It's not typical Louisville soccer. I think something's just off in the mentality of the team right now because they have the talent to not be only sitting on 34% possession, especially when your back line is struggling. It doesn't seem to be like an intentional tactic, right, to sit back on a 1-0 lead against San Antonio, who's a top team from the West. Regardless, they held San Antonio to just 1 goal. San Antonio scores a good amount of goals. For what that's worth, that could mean like they kind of figured a little bit something out. Who knows? San Antonio, good, but they were still playing in Louisville. Like that's the possession.
Did miss a big chance, so too maybe.
The possession difference in Louisville is it's crazy to me. Like how much San Antonio was on the ball in that game. Okay. Regardless, they're not feeling super good about themselves, but at the same time, I think they know they have the talent to come into Outlang and beat us if they have a really good day, right? They can do it. Like that's correct. They're going to be running with the same guys. Danny Fondez in net behind Kevin Lambert, Sean Toach, Kyle Adams, Sam Gleedle in front of them was Zach Duncan, Taylor Davila. Amadou Dia should start behind Jansen Wilson, Jake Morris, Chris Donovan up top. Wilson has 7 goals, so I believe he's their top goal scorer, right? Let me confirm that. Yeah. Top goal scorer, Jansen Wilson. Chris Donovan is 5 in second place behind Wilson. They scored 33 goals across 19 games. That's a high production rate. It's behind Charleston, who has 38, and behind us, who have 36 goals. But of course, we know their big flaw has been their defense. If you can shut down their attack and figure something out with your back line, which it looks like we did pretty well against Orange County, and we made this big signing, which I think can be big. I don't know if it's big yet, but it could be big.
Yeah.
If you play solid defense for a full 90 minutes, I think you win this game because the goals are going to come. You're scoring goals at an incredible rate right now. 3 just this past week. The week before, you scored 5. You went to Miami and didn't blow them out, but you scored 3 goals down a player, right? For the third goal at least. You're scoring goals. You're playing against a backline that's really struggling. Play good defense, and we win this game, I think.
Yeah.
However, Louisville is still an incredibly talented squad. It's not a team that you just look over just because we already beat them twice this year. It's hard. I mean, if it's hard to beat a team twice in one season, it's harder to beat a team 3 times, right?
Especially playing them in quick succession, right? Like it's fresh in their memory, that feeling.
Yeah.
And that might give them that extra bit of motivation to
you're gonna
try and get over the line.
Yeah, the mentality is gonna be for them to come out and get revenge. We have to be up to meet that challenge. And I think we will be, because I don't think this team has had too many like mentality issues, right? But you'll recall we played Birmingham Legion in the Open Cup and league play back to back. Was that last year or the year before? No, I think it was 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago. And we beat them in Open Cup in an insane game, right? It was when we blew a 3-0. We blew a 3-goal lead, and then we ended up winning in overtime with the Arteaga scissor kick. And then the league game came around that same week, and we lost. I think it was like 1-0. Just a totally different game, much calmer, right?
Right.
It doesn't, and I think we were better than Birmingham that year, but it doesn't. That didn't lead to 2 automatic results just because we beat them in the first game, right? I think it'll be a slower game because of just like the hangover from that first game. And it's definitely not anything guaranteed. I think it can be kind of like 1 or 2 goal affair at most, right? So that's Louisville. Any thoughts on the Louisville game? We'll do both of our predictions at the end for both games. And then I'll give you just a quick preview on Rhode Island, who's been in good form. What should we be talking about? What should we be looking out for Louisville? Or is it just the same squad that we saw 10 days ago?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't expect a ton of changes. Like you said, that lineup is probably going to be pretty consistent. I wouldn't expect a ton of changes from us either, right? Like we might see an Akoff come out since he's coming back from injury a couple weeks ago. He might not be ready for 2 games in quick succession, but other than that, most of these guys are kind of like prime age, pretty durable so far this season, the guys that are still standing. So would expect them to kind of be more of the same. I would hope we come out a bit stronger in the first half in this game than we did in the first half 10 days ago now. So we don't end up behind a goal or multiple goals. So if we can keep it tight, keep the intensity up, I think we've got a really strong shot at getting another win, making it 3 wins over Louisville and taking the advantage in the head-to-head in our illustrious history.
Good shout, because the head-to-head is exactly tied at 9 wins apiece with 2 draws. Yep. Cool. Yeah, it'll be a big game, of course. It's a knockout game. We have a history of knockout games with Louisville. Last time we played them in a knockout game at home was that incredible 2021 game. Right? I don't think we played them in a playoff game at home after that. Eureka, you can fact check me if you want, but I think I'm right. Okay, that'll be an interesting game. It's gonna be huge. Get out to the stadium, absolutely. Like this week is hard. It's hard. You just went away to Orange County, and you have to make that long trip back and be ready to play tomorrow after 4 days, right? Just 4 days ago, you were in Irvine, California, playing the top team out west in a tough game that you still controlled. You rotated some bodies out and everything, but it was a tough game. After this game against Louisville, a few days later on Saturday, you have to play Rhode Island, who's in good form. Luckily, you don't have to travel for that. It's at home.
Yeah, thank goodness.
Right? But there's going to be some sort of high or hangover or something because you just came off of this big game against Louisville, and then you followed that up with a big win against Orange County. You have to keep up that same intensity again on Wednesday, and it's hard to do. It's hard to do. At some point, I feel like there might be some just tiredness that seeps into the game later on. So we're gonna have to keep up intensity for a full 90 for both of these games.
Yep.
Both big. League play is big because the lead is the lead for now, but Detroit has a game in hand. We play them later on this month, I believe, right? In a big game.
You still have to play them twice, I think.
Yeah. So keep your foot on the gas pedal and don't let that hangover seep in from these big games, right? Like it's a lot. I like the depth we have and the depth we brought in to reinforce the boys, kind of keep the competitiveness high in training and everything, and then not let the form drop a step. I love that. Like I appreciate that. I appreciate that we're still making moves.
Shows that we're in it to win it. You don't want to let anything kind of throw us off our trajectory, off our momentum. As we get into that back third of the season.
Really quickly on Rhode Island, they're in good form. They're in 6th place in the East. We've struggled against them head to head in the last few years. We've only had one win against them in our 5 matchups. I'm still haunted by that 5-0 loss in Rhode Island last year. Regardless, different season, different team, right? They still have Koke Vegas in net, behind Nick Scardina, Grant Stoneman, Frank Nadarce, Aldair Sanchez. Their midfield will be Hugo Bacharach and Amos Shapiro-Thompson behind Joji Equizera, Noah Fuson, Yutaro Tukata, and likely JJ Williams up top, who, of course, is their leading goal scorer. As you'd expect, he's a beast. He has 8 goals for them on the year. One of the best strikers in the league each year over the last few seasons.
Former Rowdy, of course.
Of course, Zach Aravo is also on this roster as well. Talking about former Rowdy. But is he injured or something? He wasn't in the last 11, or did he leave? Did I miss something?
No, he's still on the roster. He just must be kind of more rotational than anything at this point.
He's featured a lot early on in the season. I wonder if there's some sort of injury or something. Regardless, he hasn't been on the roster in the called up players in the last 2 games. You won't also see Clay Holstad, who is a beast for them in the midfield. He'll be on loan at FC Dallas, which was a move that happened recently. Like I said, it'll be tough to get 3 points on Saturday, regardless of what happens on Wednesday, which I hope is a win. It's a lot of soccer into a condensed amount of time, and they're all big games. I mean, they really are. You go from comeback against gritty game against Miami, you come back against Louisville, and you go out west and play the best team. Now you're going to play a knockout game against Louisville. You always have crazy games against on Wednesday, and then you play a league game on Saturday against a team that is in 6th place and is playing pretty good soccer right now. They have 1 loss in their last 5 games, and every league game is big right now. Right?
Yeah, and Rhode Island doesn't have that midweek game, right? So they've got 7 days to recover from last weekend. The one thing I will say, and just digging in a little bit on their home away splits, they're not awesome away from home, at least not so far this season. I think they've got 3 wins and 5 losses away from home. So a chance that they just struggle when they're traveling. But like you said, JJ Williams, one of the best players in the league, he always seems to have good games, and especially against the Rowdies. But Buson too, I remember in that game last season, he was kind of taking over, horribly annoying for the Rowdies to try and contain.
He's a beast.
He's always a dangerous player. So they've got weapons. I think Holstead not being out there will be huge. He was always really strong at controlling in the midfield. So hopefully they're going to kind of miss out on that and, really be able to, take control, hopefully get some early goals and maybe not have to be as competitive for the whole 90 and just really control the game.
By the way, I mentioned Detroit. This time next week, we'll be previewing a game away to Detroit, right? Like, so after Prince Hires against Louisville, after a league game against a good team in the Eastern Conference on Saturday, after these games we just played the last couple of weeks, you have to go away to Detroit, who's playing really, really good soccer. It's a lot of soccer. I think the boys are up for it, of course. I have no reason to really doubt this squad at this point. But it's just, it's a lot. It's hard. Like, it's certainly not something you just take for granted, any of these games, right? But especially considering the opponent, considering the amount of soccer that's been played, the travel and everything. It's a lot. Okay. All that being said, I feel pretty good. Let's see what you think, Parker. That's my dad in the comments, by the way, dropping. He was watching that with me this weekend. Orange County game, second half was epic. Let's see if we can do it again tomorrow. I think so. By the way, that YouTube profile picture of his, that is so AI. Like, I've said them before. Like, the normal picture is a great picture. I don't know why he decided he wants to like throw a suit on himself in front of the quarterback. Like, it is a good picture. He threw on a suit on himself for no reason. Anyway, we'll talk about that when I go home tomorrow, because I'll be there in person for the game tomorrow and for the game on Saturday. Flying down for this game. It's gonna be huge. Okay, predictions, Parker. What do you think we got going on this week? Actually, really quickly before we give your predictions, let me say what everyone else said. Eureka went for. These are all the predictions for Wednesday, for tomorrow. Eureka is going with a 1-1 draw with a Rowdies win on penalties. Connor is going with a 2-1 win tomorrow. James didn't give us a prediction, and I said before we started that if I don't hear a prediction from him, the default is a 5-0 win. So that's James's official prediction. James is going with a 5-0 win. Parker, what do you got for tomorrow?
I'm also going for a win. I've got a 3-1 win. I think we're gonna continue our goal scoring and hopefully shut down Louisville a little bit more than we were able to a couple weeks ago. What about you, Carlos?
Yeah, tomorrow I'm gonna say we go out there and get a W. I think we get up for this game for sure. Considering that there's no difference in like stamina or like amount of soccer played. Like, this is just soccer versus soccer, right? Louisville's the one having to travel, to St. Pete. They didn't fix their back line. We're scoring goals. I'm going to say we score 2 goals in this one. And I think the difference this time versus the game against Louisville last time, 10 days ago, is that we get a shutout. I'm going to be bold. I'm going to say we win 2-0 tomorrow. Nice. Louisville. I don't know who's going to be on the back line, but it seems like there's a good vibe going on from back to front on the lineup after this week. Defensively incredible. We looked good. It's awesome stuff. And we'll mention the new signing that might reinforce that thought process for me, even if he gets minutes. I don't know if he gets minutes tomorrow, to be honest. But we'll talk about him in just a second. Okay, that's Saturday's results. Connor went with a 1-1 draw. Eureka went with a 2-1 win. And again, James didn't give me his prediction, so I'm going to say he went with a 5-0 win. Parker, that's his official prediction. What's your thoughts for Saturday's game against Rhode Island?
Man, James really thinks we're going to go out and score some goals.
Yeah, very positive of him. He's usually the realist. Like, it's pretty incredible that he's going with 2 back-to-back 5-0 wins. What do you got for Saturday?
I've got a 2-0 win. I think we can get a shutout at home again. Keep up some hopefully good defensive performances after the shutout last weekend. And I think, we're going to be able to handle Rhode Island, control the game, and score a couple of goals in the process. What about you, Carlos?
Okay. this is where I think we get the hangover slump just a little bit. I don't think we're going to lose, but I think we take a draw in this game, which, again, I don't think will be a soccer thing. I really do just think it'll be like a stamina thing. It's a lot of soccer being played. We're coming off of back-to-back, like huge games. Yeah. Rhode Island is not like a team you always have great games against. It's not like there's a huge history there. It's not like it's a team that's like always really, really good, right? They're consistently like good, but it's not a team that's like a Louisville or a Charleston in your mind. It's not as easy to get up for just because of the brand or like who you're playing against, right? It's a normal league game, which is still a big game, but I think it'll catch up to us in this case. I don't think we're going to lose. Don't get me wrong. I think it'll be just like a kind of sleepy 1-1 draw. That's my official guess. My vibes guess is that we win like 3-0 because I feel like we're better. I feel like we're a better team, like just form wise, like roster wise. They have a lot of talent, and JJ seems to always score against us. So maybe I adjust that to a 3-1, right? But I think actually, you know what? What am I doing? 1-1 draw. I'm usually the positive person on this podcast.
Oh, we got a live change.
Yeah, why don't I just now? You know what? I'm going to go with my vibes prediction. I'm going to go with a 3-1 win as my official
3-1 win. All right, I like it.
Again, don't be surprised if we're a little bit sleepy on Saturday. Like I think that's a very real possibility. It's a lot of soccer. Yeah. That'll be my official prediction. We'll have a 3-1 win. Screw it. Okay. Quick rapid fire extra time stuff. MB Myers team of the week. Beast. Good for him. Easy for us to pick player of the match for RBLR. Other bit of news, Rowdies are staying at Al Lang Stadium through 2027. It'll be their 17th season at Al Lang Stadium, the only soccer stadium in the world that played host to Jackie Robinson, to Mickey Mantle, to baseball legends of the past.
There you go.
Pretty cool. Like, I think there should be more like commemoration of that around the stadium, by the way. I think I've seen like a couple little plaques, but it's pretty sweet. It's pretty cool stuff about Al Lang. Big picture, what does that mean? Who knows? Right? Like we don't have any really clear indication of what the long-term future of the Rowdies stadium looks like. There really is no, like it could be anything, truly. Like who knows? There's no inside source. There's no like indication from the Rays. The Rays stadium's coming along, it looks like, right on the campus of HCC, next to the Bucs Stadium in Tampa. Sweet. I love that. Nice little like sports complex. Sorry?
Right off Dale Mabry.
Yeah. It'll be a sweet like sports complex. It's awesome. Like some development around there, put some restaurants and bars around there, make it a really cool place to watch sports before and after games. Like that's awesome. Great for the city. Yeah. What does that mean for the Rowdies? Again, who knows? I don't think there's any indication that the Rowdies would share that stadium as like their home base. It really doesn't seem that way. There's never been any indication. There's never been even like a rendering, including the soccer ball, right? So I don't think that'll be the case. That's just a guess. Like I truly don't know. But the Rowdies continue with this pattern of 1-year lease extensions around this time every year for another season at Al Lang Stadium. So knowing that there is potential for change in the near to medium term future, right? Continued 1-year lease extensions, as has been the case for the last number of years. But great. I mean, I love Al Lang Stadium. Truly, it's a beautiful place. The stadium maybe needs some more love, some money to upgrade some stuff like the bathrooms potentially. But other than that, it's a great. It's honest. Truly, Al Lang's a beautiful place. There's not a better background for soccer.
And great location, right in downtown St. Pete.
Right in downtown St. Pete. You can go to Ferg's after. You can go to downtown St. Pete and enjoy a nice Saturday night out, if that's your vibe. Parker just dropped something. I don't know what that was. So back home at Al Lang Stadium, pretty sweet. I love it. We have another year secured of rowdy soccer at the paradise that is Al Lang Stadium.
And before we get into talking about new signing, I don't know if this is for everyone, but I at least got a renewal for season tickets. So if you're already a season ticket holder, check your email. You can already, pre-order your season tickets for next year. Or if you're not and you want to become one, go to the website. I'm sure they're selling them for non-members already. So it's great. Yeah. Tons of little discounts and perks that you get for being a season ticket holder.
Yeah. And I saw the like standing supporter section price for a full season is it's at
$10 a
170.
game. Yeah.
$170 for a full season in the standing supporter section. That's got to be one of the best deals in sports, like truly.
Yes.
It's awesome. It's awesome. Okay, yeah, go get your season tickets for next year, of course. Last thing to mention here is this guy from Sporting Kansas City.
Yep.
Ethan Bartlow, center back, 6 foot, 26 years old, played soccer at the University of Washington with Charlie Ostrom. So some connection there. Yeah, it's made how many appearances? 11 appearances in MLS with Sporting Kansas City, who I think is not super great in league play this year, to put it lightly. They're in last place in the Western Conference in MLS. The guy has not gotten, I mean, he's played a lot of minutes, to be honest, actually. I'm looking like there's a lot of full 90-minute games.
In that first half of the season.
Yeah. Maybe they try to make some changes after, a rough start to the year. Clearly, any changes they made have not worked out too well. Regardless, back half of the year so far, not a ton of soccer for him. More than makes sense to go find a team to play soccer for, right? Like, he's young still. He's in the prime of his career, 26. I think he's plenty talented. Like, he was very, very good at the University of Washington. He's getting significant minutes in MLS, came from Houston Dynamo, where he played a ton of soccer, like 17 appearances 2022, 32 and 23, 21 and 24, 26 and 2025, and a few appearances with Dynamo 2 in 2022. Like, the guy's played a ton of MLS soccer in the last 4 seasons going into this one, and has been solid by the looks of it, right? He's looks like he's a physical presence, despite not being like the tallest center back you've ever seen. I think he'll be a good addition. I mean, truly, like, adding MLS pedigree is always good, truly. So I'm happy about it. And we're struggling with injuries at the center back spot. To me, this reads like reading the tea leaves. Someone is out longer than we expected them to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's Archer or Learman or Schaefer. It doesn't seem like it's Schaefer because, like I said, I've seen him around. Like, it's not seen him around. I've seen him in the Instagram, like, the comeback series that he's been putting out. He looks good. He's moving around, right? Pretty well. I think we're talking about a Learman or an Archer that are going to be out for longer than we anticipated.
Right.
It's a guess. I'm reading the tea leaves. There's other sayings for what I'm trying to say, but you get what I'm saying. Thoughts on this guy, Parker?
Yeah, I mean, I think the fact that he's had a pretty solid MLS career already at 26, it's great that, he's wanting to come to the Rowdies, wanting to, contribute to this. I think maybe he sees how good the Rowdies are. He's tired of losing at Sporting KC, and he's like, I just want to get some.
Get me out of here.
I want to get maybe a championship ring or whatever it is the players get for winning winning titles in the USL.
80 appearances for the Dynamo, by the way. Like, it's occurring to me just now, like, how much soccer he really played in MLS. Sorry.
No, it's a ton, right? I think too. I didn't know the connection with Ostrom. That's great that he'll have kind of a friendly face on the back line, help him settle in. I'm sure he's come up against Antley at some point in that MLS career too, so maybe another familiar face right there. But it seems like a great group of guys. I'm sure they'll get him to settle in really quickly.
Yeah.
If he's, a solid defender, can distribute the ball and everything, I think he'll be a great signing. I think everyone will really love seeing him out there. But I think you're reading between the lines on potential longer term injuries with Learman Archer. Does make sense, right? Like, we don't want to be in a situation where we have to drop Snyder back in there again. Unless we like absolutely have to. Even though
he looked good.
Exactly.
He looked good. Yeah.
But it's great to have another center back in there. Really round out the roster.
Yeah. I think the thing about Schneider is so interesting because, like I said, I think he could be more than serviceable if he played the center back role for like an extended amount of time.
Yeah.
But he's so good in the defensive midfield. Like, I don't think you want to sacrifice his talent in that portion of the field. You know what I mean? I don't think it's like a Schneider being bad at center back thing. I think it really is just like I want to use him to the full Schneider capacity if I'm Casciato. So yeah, Bartlow on loan, great pickup. It seems to me. We will see if he makes an immediate impact tomorrow, if he gets the start, or if he comes into the sub. I'm fascinated. I could see a world where like Schneider starts and then they push him with the field slightly and sub out whoever's in that spot, move Schneider up, bring Bartlow into the center back spot, maybe give him like some time to ease into it a little bit, and not throw him into like a beast of a game so quickly. Because you're getting. I mean, if he gets to start tomorrow, he's getting thrown in against the second highest goal scoring team in the league. The third. Like, they're behind us and Charleston. That's an aggressive first start, but it's not. But the guys, played 80 games at MLS level against good opponents. I think he'd be up for it, like talent wise. Just I'm always exactly. I'm always fascinated by the chemistry of it.
Yeah,
Ostrom being there, I think, is helpful though, because like I said, they played. He was there. I just double checked myself. He was there from 2018 to 2020. Ostrom was there from 2018 to 2021. So they played 2 full seasons of soccer together at UW. And it seems like they're close enough. Like I saw Ostrom commenting under the post, like the boys are back or something like that. Like I'm sure they're at least some level of close, if not, friends, right? Which I think is great for vibes, for chemistry, for it. Plus, they're all they're young. Like, you got Waite back there, who's around the same age. Like, they're all very much in the same stage of their career.
Yeah,
I think you can gel together pretty quickly like that. Again, college soccer guys too. Like, they're products of the American college soccer system. Like, I think a lot of the they share a lot of similarities. Ostrom, obviously, and Bartlow as UW alumni, but Waite as another college soccer guy. Dos Santos, college soccer from Marshall outright. You would have Akoff. I actually don't know what Akoff's situation was. He's been in the league for a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Or who else? Cruz could be out there. Like, I think you can blend together pretty quickly. If you want Bartlow to get immediate impact, I think you can. I think it really. Yeah.
I was going to say, with his move, he's obviously in college all throughout, your youth career, going from coach to coach, system to system, and then Houston to Sporting KC, different systems there probably. So I'm sure he'll pick up what it is Casciato and the Rowdies need him to do pretty quickly. But yeah, I'd love to see him get, 30 minutes off the bench when we're up, a goal to
or 5.
Or 5 if you're James. Versus starting and kind of getting thrown in the deep end a little bit.
Yeah.
Like you said, I'm sure he can handle it. He's got quality, and I'm sure he'll be really, really good for us.
Yeah. Honestly, it didn't really occur to me like how much MLS soccer he's played until we started talking about him just now. Like, I read about him earlier on in the day when I saw he was announced. And the most notable thing to me was that he played soccer with Ostrom at UW, which was enough for me to be sold on him being at least a good player.
Yeah.
Washington just produces a ton of great soccer players. But like, looking through now and just talking it out, like 80 appearances at Dynamo before he even ended up at SKC is impressive stuff.
Yeah.
So I think the talent's certainly there. And we'll see how it blends together. I'm really fascinated by that. And I wonder who's injured long term. Like, truly, I wonder what the situation is on the back line.
Yeah, maybe we'll get some news on that and stuff like that as the weeks progress. But I was just saying, when Schaefer comes back, he'll have some competition, because I do think Schaefer is on the way back. But there's going to be some really interesting competition if Bartlow's here for the long run, at least for the rest of the year. Okay, that's Ethan Bartlow. Sick name, Bartlow. Like, awesome. I saw people in the comments calling him Bart. Some of his friends.
So I'm gonna call him Bart. Anything else? Did I miss anything? One more thing. I want to throw this in here because I kept reading about. I saw this last week, and then I saw it in the Discord again this week. The game tomorrow against Louisville City. It will be the first time the USL introduces football video support to a game. It's kind of their trial run. It's not VAR. It's a little different, and there's some quirks to it. This is football video support, FVS. So what makes it a little bit different? It serves essentially the same purpose, right? An additional layer of support for a referee, right? We saw it this weekend. Like there are things that a ref maybe can't see 100% when the game's live at full speed. It's hard. Football video support will allow for coaches to essentially like challenge a play. Its application though is limited. It's limited to 4 incidents. The important stuff, right? Goal or no goal, penalty or no penalty, direct red cards, and mistaken identity when a referee issues a card or a caution or something like that, or sends off I don't know, someone on the staff or the bench or something. So those are the 4 things: goal or no goal, penalty or no penalty, direct red cards, mistaken identity. So most of the stuff that VAR is used for, with the exception of offsides, right? I didn't see offsides mentioned in there. I think VAR has been used recently for like corner kicks as well, like overturning corner kicks. Like that's
changing it to goal kicks and stuff like that.
So I truly, I think the only thing that's missing for it to be like pretty comprehensive. Well, it is pretty comprehensive, but if you incorporated like offside support as well, then you might be just in business. Like it's almost VAR. However, football video support, goal or no goal, penalty or no penalty, direct red cards, mistaken identity.
It'll be really interesting to see if it gets used, right? There's only a handful of quarterfinal games, obviously. But how it gets implemented, what's the delay like? I know a lot of people with VAR, they're like, oh, it takes too long to review things and everything, but it'll be really interesting to see how it actually gets used when it gets used, because there's got to be an instance where it gets used eventually in the road to the final. So
I'm thinking about it now, like goal or no goal. Like I wonder if that entails like an offside call though. You know what I mean? Like or like a foul leading up to the goal. You know what I mean? Or if goal or no goal just means like did it cross the line?
Right.
You know, I think that's something we'll have to see. Maybe it's in this release and I'm just skimming and I missed it. But something to keep an eye on. But regardless, that's what you're looking at for tomorrow: goal or no goal, penalty, no penalty, direct red cards, mistaken identity. Someone on the coach's staff is now probably in charge of carrying an iPad around and like looking at every play, because you have to review it essentially right after the play. You'll call it out. Each team receives 2 challenges per game. It's called a challenge. It's like in football or basketball or whatever. If the challenge is successful, the team gets to retain its challenge. If the side makes 2 unsuccessful challenges, then it is unable to review for the remainder of the 90 minutes. So be thoughtful about when you use those challenges, I guess. And it's funny, like they have the 3-step process of what you're supposed to do if you're a coach wishing to review a play. The 3-step process is: number 1, twirling their finger in the air. This is from the USL, like it's from the USL website. This is exactly what it says. It says twirling their finger in the air. That's the first step. Number 2, giving the 4th official a review request card.
A card.
It's a physical card. And then informing the 4th official of the category. So goal, no goal, penalty or no penalty, red card or mistaken identity, and the specific incident to be reviewed. So yeah, I mean, it's, if you watch sports outside of soccer, and you're probably familiar with how like challenges work in other sports. It looks like it's essentially the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Except instead of throwing a challenge flag, you
twirl your finger.
You twirl your finger in there, and you have a card to give to the fourth official. 2 challenges, like I said, successful retain, unsuccessful lose challenge, and your ability to challenge for the rest of the game. Keep an eye on that. I think it's gonna be interesting. It doesn't seem like it's at all. It doesn't seem like it is initiated by the official at all. It seems like it's entirely on the onus is entirely on the coaching staff,
right?
Which I think is really interesting and adds a unique element to the game tomorrow. It would make sense to me to have like, I don't know. I'm thinking about like the older coaches in the league, like bumbling around with an iPad, like I think it'd be interesting, but there's plenty of young blood on the Rowdies staff.
Yeah,
I like to think Andrew Fox, I think, is probably the youngest guy on the staff. Maybe even Dominic Casciata is pretty young. He'll probably be walking around with an iPad. Like someone's gonna have to be the designated guy, like looking at this and telling Dom, like review.
Start doing the hand. I think that's the thing that's got to evolve. The hand motion, twirling your finger, like they've got to change that because it seems a little bit comical to just start.
But that's what. Oh, we lost Parker. Parker's gone. But now I'm splitting too.
Hey.
Oh, now Eureka's. Hey, Parker, how's it going?
There he is.
Wonderful.
No, the finger twirling thing. It's like that's how it is in like basketball, right? Isn't that how they call it out? Like that's how it is. It's like in like NBA. It's like they just call it out like that too.
Oh, interesting.
So it's not like totally foreign to sports. It's just it'll be an interesting thing for the game of soccer. I don't imagine there being too many like problems with it. It seems like it's pretty clear cut for the most part about like when it can be used. And we'll just add something interesting to it. There has to be, like I said, a coach who is like memorizing what you can use it for, so you don't like try and review something that's unreviewable. Probably lose the challenge in that case. I don't know. I'm speculating. And you have to have a coach who's like constantly reviewing the plays, seeing if it's worth it. I know, like in basketball, like and probably football too, with how big those staffs are. In basketball, there's always a guy who's like the review specialist, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't know if the budget is large enough in USL to allow for that. Hire like an intern in like sports at USF or something for him. Like, I don't know. But it'll be interesting. It'll be really interesting. So just something to keep an eye on tomorrow as we go into this game against Louisville. And in the rest of the Prince Tires Cup, which it will be used. Hopefully it means good calls for the Rowdies. Okay, that is everything. It was a long episode, but of course it was. There's a lot to talk about. Rowdies win a big one against Orange County. Rowdies have 2 big ones this weekend against Louisville again. And then, of course, against Rhode Island at home. Both games at home. Get out to Al Stadium. Get out there tomorrow. Big one. I know Wednesdays are hard for people to make sometimes, but I mean, this is one you work your schedule around for.
Yeah.
I bought a last-minute plane ticket on Frontier for not that much because Frontier is awesome when it comes to last-minute flights.
Yep.
I'm getting down there. Get down there if you can. Work from home if you have to beat the traffic or something, but be at Outling tomorrow and Saturday. Follow RBLR Sports at RBLR Sports on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Threads. Anywhere you get your social medias, we're there. At Carlos TPA10 for me on Twitter. Parker doesn't have social medias, so check him out and all of his writing at the RBLR Rowdies website. Parker always putting together good stuff over there. You just dropped your last article. What was that one about again? I started reading through it again.
Oh yeah, talking about the players that are making the step up from USL League One, how they're handling and kind of helping to carry the Rowdies to their top of the table season. So
it's an interesting
recruiting well.
Interesting read if you want to check that out at the RBLR website. That'll be what I plug on behalf of Parker. So I got the story. Your kind of like approach to it was like, who would have thought these League One players would have been the cornerstones of this squad this year? And I saw one of the USL League One guys I follow. It was like, well, I could have told you that. And it's like one of those guys who's like covers League One pretty thoroughly. Good players, good article. Check out Parker's work. And of course, our other writer, Connor, at the RBLR Sports website. Thank you for listening. Like and subscribe to this podcast wherever you're getting your podcast right now. If you're listening to us live, thanks for joining us. By the way, my dad dropped a prediction in the comments for a 2-1 Rowdies win. I assume he means for tomorrow because that's one we were talking about with him the other day. And subscribe to us on YouTube. You can see our lovely faces. Parker's not around all that often, so see his face, check it out. You won't see it much on the screen, but when it does happen, it's a treat. So thanks for joining us, Parker. I'll see you tomorrow at the stadium, right?
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, we're just texting. I'll see you. We'll chit chat. We'll hang out. I know Connor's going to be there too, so we'll have a good little RBLR section. I don't know if James is going, but we'll at least the writers and Carlos are going to be there, so we'll have a good time.
That's right.
Thanks for joining us. This has been another lovely episode of the RBLR Rowdies podcast. A long one, but of course, plenty of content to get through. Be at the stadium tomorrow. Be at the stadium on Saturday. And of course, as always, come on, you Rowdies.
Come on, you Rowdies. Let's get some.
Thank you for tuning into this presentation by RBLR Sports. On your way out of the stadium, please remember to like and subscribe.